We just watched the advanced screening of the new version of The Crow.
Yes, it was awesome. Based on the original comic, or was it a
graphic novel?
Graphic novel. Yeah, Jim O'Barr was the creator of the original graphic novel.
And they did a movie version with Brandon Lee released
1994.
In 94,
yes.
30 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was kind of a very pivotal cultural movie for
the
time.
Yes, it was.
You know, just with the alternative rock scene. It was Nine Inch Nails days.
Yeah.
It was the music was.
Yeah, it was
it's very much trapped in the alternative music scene.
It was almost like the second sort of renaissance of the whole goth movement.
Yeah.
It was a very nice time to be in that scene, and that movie sort of galvanized that whole idea and that vibe and the darkness and
it's like this dark romantic
theme
to the movie, to the story. I never read the comics.
Nor did I.
I don't know how close the original movie adapted it. I don't know how close this one stuck to it.
I think visually, my sense is that the original was probably stayed closer to the graphic novel in terms of artistic side of it.
The original movie also had very much, it was kind of like a Gotham City feel.
Yes.
And it was, I don't know if, was there a single scene that was actually in the daytime? It was always dark and raining and wet.
Yeah.
And Alex Proyas directed that one. He also did the movie Dark City.
Look, I mean, that movie was epic. It was really, and I understand why hardcore fans.
That was another thing when word dropped that this movie is being released. People are very, very, very. It's a very sacred movie to many people.
What you have to do though is you have to see this one on its own and as its own piece, its own for the time. It's
a different telling of the same story.
Of the same story.
I mean, how many Dracula movies have? I mean, there's been hundreds.
Yeah.
Not just vampire movies, but actually Dracula movies.
Yes.
And there are loads of good ones.
And there's hardcore fans as well. And I mean.
But people tend to forget. They flipped out when they heard about this. It's also, you can't say it's a remake. I would see it's just it's a different telling of the story. It's a different telling
of the story.
Because they also had a bunch of freaking sequels.
Oof, yeah.
Edward Furlong was one. I think Vincent Perez was in the first. It was like straight to video
and
kind of releases.
No mistake, I love Edward Furlong. He's a big guy, but I in his day I really enjoyed him. Yeah.
It was just badly cut. I mean, I think I saw the Vincent Perez one, and I think I might have seen the Edward Furlong one, and there was another one or two. I don't even know how many. I think there were about three.
I mean, the one with Brendan Lee was obviously the most iconic.
Brandon
Lee.
Yeah, and also the tragedy attached to that, where he got killed by accident on set with a prop gun. Before we continue, please remember to like and subscribe, or first subscribe, and then afterwards, if you liked it, then you like it.
And comment something.
That's fair. Yeah, drop a comment as well.
Yes. The telling of the story this time around, I really thought it was so well done, so well written, beautifully executed. The final act of that movie was just epic. Epic. I mean it was just,
For people who don't know the story, it's these two, I mean, actually now there's far more of a backstory about the two characters.
Yes.
Eric and, what's the name, Shelley. How they meet. They're two outcasts, they meet in rehab, and they fall in love, and it's like this kind of Romeo and Juliet vibe. And it's the original one, they're just together and there's a tragedy, and things turn supernatural and evil forces. And so basically, I guess we can say they die.
Yes.
And he comes back to take revenge.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you how and why.
Yeah.
That's what the whole story is about. And if you like and love the original movie, drop a comment and tell us why and what about it. And if this if you're actually deterred to watch this because you love the original movie so much, then tell us why.
Yeah.
But I think you should give it a chance.
I think if you especially if you are a hardcore fan of the original, I really think that you would enjoy this one.
Yeah, give it. I mean, like I said, it's a different version of a cool story. So I'm sure you can handle it.
Yep.
You can handle it. It was who's the director? Rupert Sanders. He made I think this is his third movie. I think the first one was the Snow White and the Huntsman.
Oh, okay.
And the live-action version of Ghost in the Shell,
which was also good.
I really. I mean, people are ripping that movie for so many.
No, why?
That's another thing. The anime of Ghost in the Shell is also so sacred.
You have to compare apples with apples. I mean, for me, this was beautifully done, beautifully executed. Bill Skarsgård, next level, awesome.
Yeah, but you've got a crush on him and his brother, so it's obviously you'll like it.
Not a crush. He's because young enough to be my son. Ooh la 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 la. I just thought he did a really good job.
No, he was well cast.
And I think that they incorporated the original Crow aesthetic beautifully. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't obvious. It was just right.
And you couldn't just replicate that whole vibe of the original movie.
Yeah, no, that would have been bad.
It's pointless. So they had to make it its own, and I think they succeeded.
And I look ultra violence in Japan. A wop bam, a doo bam, a wop bam bam.
Thank you, man.
Ultra violence in Japan. A wop bam, a doo bam, thank you, man.
There's lots of violence, hectic, bloody violence.
Yeah.
Some even gory bits.
Yeah.
So if that's your thing, just sit into the third act, you'll get it. Well, lots of stuff happened throughout, but
the final act is the best.
Especially towards the end.
I think if people don't like this version of it, that they may be too loyal to the original version. Look, I'm also a fan of the original version.
But you can be a fan of multiple things, people.
Yeah.
And also the original movie soundtrack was also quite a soundtrack for the time. It had Nine Inch Nails, The Cure, even Pantera is on it.
Yeah.
It was like this very cool mix of alternative music of the time. And this time, I mean, they've got Joy Division in it. They've got Gary Newman.
Yes.
There's even an Enya song and some operette. And the opera scene is it Debussy? How do you pronounce that?
I don't
Debussy. And it's not as packed with songs.
No.
But it's got some cool ones there.
It creates the correct sort of
the vibe. It all fits together. And obviously you love crows. So you'll probably give this movie extra 2 eyeballs just because of all the crows. Whether they were CGI or not, they all looked very realistic. So
they were
it's
beautiful.
Believable.
Absolutely, very believable. I guess
the reason it's the crow is the legend myth. What do you call it? If someone dies,
the soul. The crow carries the soul.
When someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. And sometimes something so bad happens that the soul cannot rest.
Score-wise, it actually had a scarometer. I had
there was a fright. There wasn't a scare because this movie doesn't have scares.
No, it's not made that way.
It's not a horror movie. It's a dark movie with evil. I mean, there's there's
evil
and fantasy section.
But there was one on the.
So you got one. There was a fright, an unexpected fright.
Very unexpected. And score-wise. Sure, I would give it a.
I'll say 8.
Yeah, I also want to say 8. Yeah.
I was 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, but there's nothing there that I can say that sucked, except for people getting into people's cell phones. Your cell phone, either you have to put in your code or your fingerprint. So there's too many cell phones opened up
Yeah.
Just like that. But that's a small thing.
That's Hollywood.
It's a small technicality.
Yeah.
So if that's enough for you to make it lose a point, then fuck.
The only thing more disturbing than the final act of the movie was the music that played in the empty mall.
Man, when we came out the freaking mall, wow.
Wow.
It is depressing.
Sure.
Except for the banging, does this remind you of Dawn of the Dead? The music.
Oh, no. None of it.
It's to put it this way, it's not like it's a Ghostbusters reinterpretation, which was also fine.
I had no problem.
But people got their panties in a twist about that, and you know, there will be people very unhappy with this version. They'll go watch it begrudgingly. Nareen Dorman, who does our Bloody Parchment at the Horrorfest, she's a super Crow fan, and she loved it. So
Yes.
it's possible for a super Crow fan to enjoy it. Hey, then there's hope
Give it a shot.
for those who are digging in and saying no.
No.
Just like with Suspiria. I mean, I loved that Suspiria remake, and other people were disgusted. that
Still
they-
love the original as well.
Yeah, no, I love the original, and people were disgusted that they even attempted to remake that, but they did a fantastic job.
Yep.
So some remakes and reinterpretations and reboots can be good.
Yes.
So that's it for us. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.